Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a user mailbox because let's face it, we've set up Exchange, we've configured email addresses, but we haven't actually created any user mailboxes yet. So in this video, we're going to change all that. Now, like most things in Exchange, you can create a user mailbox using the Exchange Admin Center or the Exchange Management Shell. So my plan for this video is I'm going to show you the commands that you can use for creating a user in the Exchange Management Shell, and then I'm going to walk you through the user creation process in the Exchange Admin Center. Because generally, if you only have a couple of users to create, then it's a lot easier to use the Exchange Admin Center. You would want to use the Exchange Management Shell if you've got a large number of users to create, because then you could script the user creation process. So here's the basic command that you would use to create a mailbox using the Exchange Management Shell. Now, this is a really long command, but the reason why it's so long is because we're not just creating a mailbox, we're also creating a user account. So let's take a look at the command. It's new-mailbox and then -alias, and I'm just using Brian as an alias, and then -name, and in quotation marks, I'm putting Brian Posey, my name, -first name Brian, -last name Posey, -display name, in quotation marks, Brian Posey, -user principal name, that's the email address, brian@poseydemo.com, -password, and then in parentheses, convert to secure string, -string, and we're setting the password to capital P, A, $, word 1, and then dash as plain text and -force, close parentheses. So the command is fairly straightforward, but it's long. We're not really doing anything super complicated here. We're mostly just specifying the username over and over again, along with the email address and the password. But that's the basic command that you would use to create a user mailbox from the Exchange Management Shell. Now, admittedly, there are a number of variations of this command. I want to show you one variation. I mentioned a moment ago that the reason why that command was so long was because we weren't just creating a mailbox, we were also creating a user account. But what if the user account already exists? Well, if the user account already exists, then we can use a different command. We can use the enable-mailbox commandlet. And here we're just typing enable-mailbox and then an email address, in this case brian@poseydemo.com, and then -database and the name of the Exchange Server database where we want to put the mailbox. So much easier. But with that said, I want to switch over to my Exchange environment and I want to show you how to create a user mailbox using the Exchange Admin Center. So here I am in the Exchange Admin Center. I've got the Recipients tab selected and I'm looking at mailboxes, and you can see the administrator mailbox. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click New, and I can choose between a user mailbox and a linked mailbox. I'm going to choose a user mailbox, and that's going to open up another browser window, and now we can choose a new user mailbox. So I'm going to call this user1, and we can choose to link this to an existing user or to a new user. So if I wanted to link this to an existing user, what I would do is click Browse, and that's going to bring up yet another browser window. And I could search for the user that I want to link it to. If I were to type user1, for example, you can see that there are no items to show. And the reason for that is this is a brand new deployment. I haven't created any users. All I have is the built-in administrator account. So what we would want to do instead is create a new user. So I'm going to set first name to user1. I'm going to be really imaginative here. Last name, user1. And display name and username, I'm just going to set to user1. And we have to set a user login name. Guess what I'm going to call that? User1. And the email address is set to @poseydemo.com. If I had accepted domains, I could choose a different one here, but I don't have multiple accepted domains, so I'm going to go with poseydemo.com, which is what it should be. And then I can specify a new password, and I have to confirm that password. And if I wanted to require the user to change their password at the next logon, I would select this checkbox. Now you'll notice that I have a link right here called More Options. If I were to click this link, then we have a few different things that we can do. We can specify a mailbox database, so I can click Browse, and that's going to launch yet another browser window. And I can choose the mailbox database that I want to place this mailbox into. I'll just go with DB1. We can choose to create an archive mailbox if we want. We haven't really talked about archive mailboxes yet, so I'm going to talk about that in another video. And we can choose an address book policy. That's something else we haven't talked about, so I'm going to save that for later. Right now, all of these options look good, so I'm going to click Save. And my new user account is created. So here you see the user, you see user1 at poseydemo.com as an email address, And if there was anything that we wanted to edit, we could easily do that by selecting the user and clicking Edit. That would bring up a browser window. And you can see that in editing, we have a lot more options than what we had on the screen that you just saw. These are the basic options that you've already seen, but we also have things like contact information that we can populate, organization information, things like the user's title, department, company, manager, etc. So we've got all of these different fields that we can populate. These are the same type fields that you see in the Active Directory. But this is a lab environment, so I'm not going to worry about populating those fields. I just wanted to show you how to go about creating a user mailbox. So with that said, that's going to do it for this video. I'm going to create some more user mailboxes that we can use in some of the later lab exercises, and then we'll pick it up here in the next video.